Watch this.
After eviction and months out of their office, a new motion will allow the local Veterans Affairs Union to move back in. How they managed in the meantime. And after years in an Idaho tourism town, 2 businesses announced this week they're closing their doors for good. What led to their decision? The Veterans Affairs Union is moving back home after it was kicked out of its building last year. It was forced to leave its Boise office building after VA Secretary Doug Collins tore up the collective bargaining agreements last August. Collins' termination of the agreement followed a Trump executive order with the same sentiment. A legal battle started last summer, and last month, a judge out of Rhode Island filed a preliminary injunction restoring that agreement. So now, the local VA union can move back into its office, and in the meantime, the group worked out of their homes.
It also provided a space that we could meet with the employees and see what was going on. I have had to use my own leave to represent employees.
If there's like a grievance with an employee, I can step in and be a part of the conversation with management and help defend the employee as we kind of go through that process. So with that, it's kind of been taken away from us in a lot of ways. We can still do our best during the time period we had, but it's kind of restoring that time back so that we can start representing employees again.
The office says it protects employees and veteran care. Since this is a preliminary injunction, nothing is final. So as it plays out in court, the union president says it is business as usual. The group will move back into its building tomorrow at noon.
Anything can happen tomorrow. As it stands is that Judge DuBose's order is in effect. The VA filed a motion to try to repeal our preliminary injunction win, but that's going to take some time, and it's going to take another judge to side with the administration and not with a previous judge decision. So that's kind of rare for that to happen, but anything can happen. But the union is here, and we are fighting for our employees right now, and that's what matters.
TSA has similar lawsuit playing out, which is set to go to court in June. The local union representing TSA members was also out of its office for several months.
You know, when there's less federal employees at the airport, longer lines are going to be. When there's going to be longer lines at the airport when there's less federal workers.
A group hoping to make medical marijuana legal in Idaho is in the final home stretch. The Natural Medicine Alliance of Idaho is still working to collect signatures for its petition. And as we reported earlier this week, they have more than 100,000 signatures, they say. The Secretary of State's office says it has received more than 10,000 signatures from the group, and of those, 4,600 are verified. Our crew caught up with a volunteer who shared why people have been signing the petition.
A lot of them come from families that need more, that would prefer natural medical, like cannabis instead of opiates for their family with cancer, PTSD. A lot of people use it for pain management, and just to be able to have that freedom of being able to make that choice for themselves.
The deadline to submit the petition is April 30th, and if the group gets more than 70,000 verified signatures, it'll be up to a statewide vote this November. There is a lot coming up this summer in the city of Boise. So much, in fact, that there wasn't time to talk about it all on this weekend's episode of Viewpoint. So here's a part of Justin Cora's conversation with the Boise mayor that you won't see this Sunday, as they talk about free bus passes for kids and the celebration plan for America 250.
I'm actually really excited about this because I think back to when my kids would jump on the bus to go see my husband out at HP and stuff. And after having quite a few conversations with young people, with organizations that support young people and families, and then frankly parents in Boise, where we were hearing they don't want to be taxi drivers as much as they are, we thought, you know what, let's partner with VRT and create free buses for young people, and I say young people because it's 18 and under in Boise for the summer months. And so parents, students, teachers can go online, sign folks up, and if you're under 18 in Boise, you can jump on a bus and get wherever you want this summer.
Wow, amazing. That's exciting. Also, speaking of this summer, America 250, what do y'all have planned for that?
Yes. Well, every first Thursday this year, we've been doing different programming in the community at Jump, so I want to thank Jump for their support. And in May first Thursday, we're working with the WASMA Center, and there'll be an art and writing competition, and the art will be displayed. And then on July 4th, and that whole weekend, we have a lot of stuff going on.
Clear your schedules.
Clear your schedules for real. First Thursday is that same week, so we'll have activities on first Thursday, and then a supersized July 4th celebration with, of course, the pancake breakfast that's done, and then the parade. At the park, we're going to have, for the first time ever, a free concert with the Boise Philharmonic.
Wow.
And that will lead into an evening with a drone show and fireworks that bigger than we've seen before. But I'm really excited about the opportunity for Boise families and others to come join us at the park, experience the Philharmonic, and celebrate our nation's birthday.
For the rest of Justin's conversation with Mayor McClain, as they talk about the flag law, transportation, housing, and parks, all big topics, you'll want to tune in Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for Viewpoint. All right, remember when Laketown Clothing Company in McCall lined its roof with 200 water skis in 2023 to give their business some character and capture the spirit of the town? Well, it resulted in a back and forth battle with the city, which said the ski display was against city code and they needed to come down. Well, the shop's owner, Kate Huskinson, took the skis down that year, hopeful in the near future the city would reconsider changing its code. That still hadn't happened by 2025. So Huskinson put the skis back up. However, the skis needed to come back down. And once the city said they needed to come down, they said that the business would be fined. So Huskinson once again removed the skis. But today, Huskinson is closing his doors for good. Our Aspen Shumpert went to McCall for his last day of business to find out why.
After 3 years on Lenora Street here in McCall, Laketown Clothing Company has decided to close, saying it's become tough operating in a tourism town. Friday, the owner of the shop, Kate Huskinson, spent the day saying goodbye to locals and selling the rest of his inventory. He says when he first opened in town, he wanted to create a place where people could leave with a shirt or a keepsake to commemorate their trip. He says there were several fights with the city over the years for decisions he made to promote his business, including lining his roof with water skis that were against city code. But that's not the main reason he's walking away. Instead, it comes down to the math and the reality of working in a tourism town.
You got summers where you're trying to make all your money to cover the off season, and then years like this one where there's no snow. The ski resorts are thinned out, snowmobiling's thinned out, there's not so many visitors, and that really impacts the businesses up here. We live and breathe off of the visitors that come up, and we're grateful for them that come up here and support us.
Huskinson says it isn't goodbye completely. He plans to return with pop-ups at the Winter Carnival and 4th of July events, and he's in talks with other downtown stores to carry his designs. But today we learned this isn't the only business ending operations. Coming up on the news at 6, I'm going to tell you who else is closing shop and why they say they didn't feel supported by the city. Reporting in McCall, Aspen Shumpert, Idaho's News Channel 7.
An iconic Western film festival is moving to one of the best cities in the country, Boulder, Colorado. The Sundance Film Festival is scheduled for January 2027, and a high school freshman from Denver is hoping to make his filmmaking debut. Rachel Krause has his story.
Inside the classroom,
we've been studying what revolution looks like.
Lessons come to light.
In all its forms.
Here, it's not the teacher students listen to, but their classmate, Jude Pockross.
Yeah, I don't know how else we would do that without making it like weird.
The East High freshman is helping call the shots.
We're gonna do something a little different today.
In his first film, Jude's dream of directing may be new, but the story on the screen started in the 7th grade with a playwriting contest.
I was dealing with like definitely some Jewish problems that weren't like bullying, but I knew Jewish people were, and I knew I needed to write something about that.
3, 2.
I wrote the whole story in like 2 hours.
His story snagged the top prize and director John Kahn's attention.
So we read it and like literally it brought tears to my eyes.
Jude's mother and her partner saw the potential.
She and I were talking, and you know, Jude and I love hanging out on projects and stuff like that, and so I was like, hey, why don't we turn this into a movie?
7th grade Jude was like, holy yes. And all I imaged was like the big movie stars, the big actors. Nothing was what it was really like.
With every shot logged and scene wrapped, Jude's story of grief, faith, and coming of age comes to life.
He's going to find himself through all of this. He already has.
With hopes, once it's done, of finding its way into a certain film festival.
Oh, Sundance.
If accepted, it could be one of the first films screened at Sundance's new home in Boulder. Jude's hopeful that when the film wraps, it's not the end, but just the start toward a career making movies.
I mean, you can just see the future is bright for this kid. It is so cool. We are so proud of him.
Thank you. Cut.
Now to your 411 on this Friday. Another lawsuit from the Idaho Department of Environmental Quality, this time against the cities of Burley and Rexburg. The department says both cities violated the Clean Water Act at wastewater treatment plants. The department alleges the treatment plants haven't complied with pollution limits set out in their Clean Water Act permits. DEQ says for more than 5 years, the Burley-Hayburn Industrial Park has sent wastewater into the Snake River, and the Rexburg plant has discharged wastewater into the South Fork of the Teton. And an Idaho tradition will be crossing Highway 55 tomorrow. It's already that time of year, hard to believe. A band of sheep will be making their way through Eagle near Beacon Light Road. Police will shut down Highway 55 while those sheep are crossing. It's expected to start at 9:30 a.m. And you can celebrate Earth Day with the city of Boise tomorrow. The event runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Watershed. That's the city's Climate and Water Science Center. The event will feature food trucks and live music. And attendees in true Earth Day spirit are encouraged to bike the green belt to get to this event. And that's your 411 on the 208. We're back after this. Since 1975, the race to Robie Creek has drawn in thousands of runners and spectators. The half marathon takes runners on a 13.1-mile journey from Fort Boise, 2,000 feet up a summit before a downhill dash to Robie Creek. And for many runners, it's truly a chance to prove to themselves that they can do it. For some, it's a way to honor those who can't. There are so many reasons to show up, as we learn in this 208 redial.
Why do you keep doing it? I'm crazy. I hate it. I don't know. Most people are the same way, I think.
Ken Karcher is running Robie Creek for his 7th or 8th time. He can't remember which. At 81 years young, he plans on mostly running.
If you hate it, then why do you keep doing it? I don't know. No, runners don't know the answer to that.
From one of the oldest runners to one of the youngest, 14-year-old Kenny Gunning is running for his first time. What are you expecting?
Pain, lots of pain.
Kenny runs cross country at school, but has never competed at this distance.
What are you expecting mentally?
Confusion and, wanting to, just pushing myself and wondering why would I do this.
He's running because his dad does, and he wants to be like him.
Pride for glory. It's about crossing the finish line.
For Team Malice, it's about fun.
We don't really know what to expect, so we just want to go out this and have an adventure.
Malice is the combination of their first names, Mary and Alice. Even though they're on the same team, there's still competition.
I'm planning on tripping her at the last minute.
Eric Zinn is running for his 3rd time.
I just like to get better records, see if I can beat myself, and it's fun, so it's a challenge.
He's even sporting a popular symbol to stay motivated.
It's don't stop, so Superman never stops. I got on my wrist too.
And what better motivation than running for a friend fighting cancer?
We are the Robie Creek Lunatics, and we are running this in honor of our friend Lou Russell, who has been fighting colon cancer.
Only a handful in this group have ever run the race. The rest are in for a surprise.
Not good.
You got to be a little bit of a lunatic to run this race in the first place.
The reasons to run vary.
People say it's the beer at the end, but it hurts too much to drink the beer at the end. So I don't know.
Heads up, it gets greasy down here.
But more often than not, there might be not a reason at all.
Why do this? I don't know. I ask that question every day. I really don't know why.
Just crossing the finish line might be reason enough. At the race to Robie Creek, Scott Evans, Idaho's News, Channel 7.
Well, Idaho skies certainly have been showing off this week. We're clear out there right now, which means anyone driving will want the sunglasses, and we are seeing some slow conditions. There's a lot of people out and about on this Friday afternoon, no doubt because of the nice weather, but we are seeing pretty slow conditions on westbound Highway 44 between Eagle Road and Highway 16. That has been slow for the last hour and a half, but you can see all of those major streets are starting to stack up, and a wider view that includes westbound I-84. The Flying Y is actually not a problem spot right now, but you will tap the brakes a bit going through Meridian on out into Nampa. So just be ready for some company on the roadways. All right, 5:19. Let's get to your weather conditions as well. It is a bright, sunny day, much more settled and bearable than we were yesterday with those highs in the 40s, that brisk wind, and of course the snow and grapple from yesterday. We're still pretty crisp though for mid-April. 52 currently in Boise. We're only in the upper 40s in Twin Falls, mid-30s in McCall, and mid-40s in Sun Valley. But not a bad way to wrap up the work week. If you were out and about early this morning though, I hope you discovered that all of your plants made it through our hard freeze. These were our observed lows this morning. Mountain Home got down to 24. In Nampa, we were at 27 degrees. Boise at 29. Jerome hit 23 early on this morning. And a heads up, while we won't be quite that cold in most spots tomorrow, there is another freeze warning in place for Saturday morning. Hard freeze expected again in the Magic Valley. Morning lows tomatoes in the Treasure Valley will be right around the freezing mark tomorrow. So one more night where before you go to bed tonight, tuck in those tomato plants if you have them in the ground, any sensitive plants. If you're able to pull them inside, that's best. If not, just make sure they're protected from the frost. This is what I expect tomorrow morning. Boise likely landing at 34 degrees right before sunrise tomorrow. Caldwell, Nampa, Ontario just at or right below the freezing mark. Same for Mountain Home. Mid-20s again in the Magic Valley. A frosty start in Twin Falls. 20s and even single digits up in the mountains. So this looks a whole lot like this morning, but tomorrow afternoon will look and feel so much better. We'll land in those mid-60s for our daytime highs on Saturday. Low 60s in the Magic Valley. We'll be in the low 50s, upper 40s in the mountains with abundant sunshine. Winds will be a little breezy out of the southeast tomorrow, but that southerly wind is what will help propel those temperatures into much warmer territory than today. Beautiful for the race to Roby Creek, which kicks off at high noon tomorrow. Temperatures at that point will be in the low 50s. We should have tons of sunshine overhead. A really gorgeous day to run that race as long as everything has dried out after that soaking rain and the storms we had earlier this week. Maybe just make sure you're kind of ready for some wet patches during that race tomorrow. Big picture setup shows our storm system from earlier this week sliding off to the east. We have that warmer air coming in tomorrow and Sunday. We'll actually tack on 20 degrees of warmth from now through Sunday. There is a storm system brewing way off to the west. It's going to very slowly kind of pinwheel south, and then eventually early next week it will slide eastward. But ahead of that system, it will push more warm air our way. So by Monday and Tuesday next week, look at this, you guys, pushing 80 Monday, Tuesday. Not record highs. The rest of our records for the month of April are in the 80s and 90s, but still beautiful weather coming our way. So we'll be in the mid 70s by Sunday. There's those upper 80s Monday, Tuesday. Look at those morning lows in the mid to upper 40s. Those morning lows warmer than the highs we saw yesterday. What an Idaho forecast. And in true Idaho spring fashion, that system coming in right now, it looks like we'll see a significant temperature drop. We'll lose 20 degrees of warmth from Tuesday to Wednesday with rain accompanying that system here in the valleys. Snow will likely fall in the mountains. We stay cool and unsettled through the end of the work week. Though that cool down next week, Morgan, doesn't look nearly as significant as what we saw yesterday, and it's still a little bit far out. So take those temperatures and the rain with a grain of salt. We'll kind of fine tune it as we get closer, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Wednesday become a first alert weather day just because of the changing conditions. But man, the next 4 or 5 days, beautiful.
Beautiful. I mean, truly, to go from 29 degrees this morning, to 79 degrees as a high early next week.
I mean, springtime in the Gem State. Have you ever seen anything more like it?
Classic.
I know.
All right,
I know.
We're back after this. All right, to end the show, we are going to take a look at some of your comments. Bear with me because I'm not really used to this. But this is so fun about the 208, right? If the medical marijuana initiative gets its 76,000, it's actually 70,000 plus signatures, and is approved by the Idaho voters, I'll bet it gets vetoed by the legislators next session. So I looked it up. Lawmakers cannot veto a citizen initiative. The governor can't veto a citizen initiative either. Once a citizen initiative passes, it does become law. However, we've seen this before in Idaho with Medicaid expansion, for example, where lawmakers can, the next session, create new laws that sort of weaken that existing law. Okay, moving on. The next one, 6,500 out of 10,000 signatures still talking about the medical marijuana initiative. Were the rest of the 10K not checked yet or denied? It was actually 4,600 were verified, and our Joe Paris, who's no longer with us at Channel 7, did a great article in 2018 about why signatures aren't verified. You can head to ktvb.com and try to look that article up, but it is a tedious process. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.